The relationship between Amara and Emeka was built on the quiet things. It wasn't about grand gestures or public displays. It was found in the way he made her coffee exactly how she liked it without asking. They had been together for 3 years. In that time, they had developed a rhythm that felt permanent. Emeka was the steady one. He was the one who remembered anniversaries, who double-checked the locks, who texted safe home and meant it. He was not a man who flicked. He was not a man who forgot. 3 days before her birthday, they sat on their small balcony, watching the city traffic below. The evening air was cool, signaling the end of the rainy season. "I have the day off on Thursday," Emeka said, leaning back in his chair. "For your birthday." Amara smiled, looking up from her book. "You didn't have to do that. We could have just done dinner." "No," he said, shaking his head. He looked at her with that familiar, warm expression, the one that always made her feel anchored. "I want to. I have something planned. It's not big, but it's specific. You'll like it." "Give me a hint," she teased. "No hints, but I promise it's worth the wait." He reached over and squeezed her hand. His grip was warm and solid. "I'll call you the morning of. Don't make plans." "I won't," she said. "I won't forget," he promised. It was the kind of promise you don't even think to question. It was a fact, as certain as the sun coming up. The accident happened 24 hours later. It was a Tuesday afternoon. It was raining. Emeka was driving on the outskirts of the city on a road he had taken 100 times before. There was no drama to it, no cinematic build-up. A truck coming from the opposite direction lost traction on a curve. It hydroplaned, drifting across the center line. The impact was immediate. Metal folded. Glass shattered into thousands of diamonds across the wet road. The noise was deafening for a split second. A violent tear in the fabric of the afternoon, and then it was gone. Silence rushed back in, heavy and wet. Emeka died instantly. He didn't suffer. He didn't have time to be afraid. He was simply there one moment, a man with a plan and a promise, and gone the next. Amara was at work, sitting at her desk, staring at a spreadsheet. She didn't feel a sudden chill. She didn't feel a pain in her chest. Wednesday passed in a blur of work and errands. Amara texted Emeka twice. He didn't reply. She assumed he was busy or perhaps preparing for the surprise. Thursday arrived, her birthday. Amara woke up early, the morning light filtering through the blinds. She reached for her phone immediately, expecting to see his name on the screen. A text, a missed call, a picture. Nothing. The notification screen was empty, save for a few automated emails and a birthday wish from her mother. "He's sleeping in," she thought. "He took the day off. He's resting." She made coffee and sat in the kitchen. She drank the first cup, then the second. 10 a.m. Her phone sat on the counter. Black and silent. She checked her volume. It was on loud. She checked her signal, full bars. 1 p.m. A seed of worry began to sprout, but she quickly buried it under irritation. It wasn't like him to be silent. Was this part of the surprise? Was he making her wait to build anticipation? It felt cruel. 4 p.m. The afternoon sun began to dip, casting long aureole shadows across the living room. The silence in the apartment grew heavy. It felt like a physical weight pressing against her ears. She called him. It went straight to voicemail. "Hi, this is Emeka. Leave a message." She hung up without speaking. By 8 p.m., the worry had cuddled into anger. He had promised. He had looked her in the eye and said, "I won't forget." She sat on the sofa, the television playing on mute. She imagined him somewhere else. Maybe he had gotten cold feet about the relationship. Maybe he was with someone else. the mind, when left in silence, invents the worst possible betrayals to explain the inexplicable. Midnight came. The day was over. Her birthday was gone. Amara turned off her phone, threw it on the cushion beside her, and went to bed. She didn't cry. She was too angry to cry. She lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, feeling foolish for believing him. The next morning, the anger was a dull ache like a bruise. Amara moved through the apartment slowly. She didn't want to look at her phone, but habit forced her hand. She turned it on. Almost immediately, it began to ring. The screen lit up. The name displayed was clear: Emeka. Amara stared at it. Indignation. Was he calling now, the day after? She pressed the side button, silencing the call. She tossed the phone onto the kitchen table. "No," she whispered to the empty room. "You don't get to do that." 5 minutes later, it rang again. A long, insistent buzzing against the wood of the table. Emeka. She walked out of the room. She took a shower, letting the hot water burn her skin, trying to wash away the humiliation of the previous day. When she came out, the phone was ringing again. It was relentless. It wasn't the pattern of someone calling to apologize. It was the pattern of someone who needed to get through. It felt urgent. Amara wrapped a towel around her hair and marched to the table. She stared at the screen. The name flashed, demanding attention. Pick up, she thought. Pick up and tell him to go to hell. She swiped right. She lifted the phone to her ear. What? Her voice was sharp, trembling with held-back tears. "Hey," Emeka said. The air left Amara's lungs. It wasn't the voice of someone who was sorry. It wasn't the voice of someone who had been ignoring her. It was calm. It was warm. It sounded exactly like him. Clear, close, and terrifyingly normal. There was no static, no background noise of traffic or wind, just his voice, intimate and familiar. "Emeka," she said, her anger faltering, replaced by confusion. "Where have you been? It's Friday. You missed." He cut her off gently. I know, I'm running a little behind, but I got it." "Got to what?" "The gift," he said. He sounded pleased with himself. "I didn't want to bring it to the apartment because I wanted you to see it there. I left it at that vintage shop on 4th Street. You know the one with the green awning?" Amara gripped the phone tighter. "The vintage shop? Emeka, what are you talking about? Why aren't you here?" "I just needed to drop it off," he said. His voice remained steady, unbothered by her distress. "It's with the owner. It's all paid for. You just have to go pick it up." "Emeka, please come home," I whispered. "I don't care about the gift." "Go get it, Amara," he said softly. "It's for you. I promised, remember?" "Emeka, I have to go now." "Wait," she pleaded. "Happy birthday, Amara." The call ended. Amara stood in the kitchen, the phone still pressed to her ear, listening to the dial tone. She felt dizzy. The conversation had been so mundane, yet it left her skin prickling with cold. Before she could process what had happened, the phone vibrated in her hand again. She jumped, nearly dropping it. It wasn't Emeka, it was Chioma, her best friend. Amara answered, her voice shaky. "Hello? Amara?" Chioma's moist voice was wrecked, thick, wet and broken. She was sobbing. "Chioma, what's wrong?" "Amara, I didn't know how to tell you. I've been trying to find you since yesterday, but your phone was off." "Amara, calm down. What happened?" "It's Emeka," Chioma choked out. Amara froze. "I just talked to him. He just called me." "No," Chioma wept. "Amara, no, you couldn't have." "I did," Amara insisted, her voice rising in pitch. "He called me 2 minutes ago. He told me to go to the shop on 4th Street. He sounded fine." "Amara, listen to me," Chioma screamed through the tears. "Emeka is dead." The world stopped. The kitchen, the light, the air, everything froze. He died in a car accident on Tuesday afternoon. The police only just identified him because he didn't have his wallet. Amara, he's been gone for 2 days. Amara looked at the phone in her hand. The call log was open. The top entry said, "Incoming call 1 minute ago." But there was no name, just a string of zeros. Amara didn't scream, she didn't faint. She moved with mechanical precision of shock. She put on her shoes, she grabbed her keys, she walked out of the apartment. The city was loud, alive, and indifferent. Amara walked 6 blocks to 4th Street. She felt like a ghost haunting the living world. Her feet hit the pavement, but she couldn't feel the impact. She reached the shop with the green awning. It was a dusty place filled with old clocks, jewelry, and books. She pushed the door open. A bell jingled above her head. The old man with spectacles on a chain looked up from the counter. He smiled politely. "Can I help you, miss?" I am here for a package for Amara." The old man's face lit up with recognition. "Ah, yes, the young man dropped it off." Amara gripped the edge of the wooden counter. Her knuckles turned white. "When?" she asked. "When did he drop it off?" The man thought for a moment. It must have been Tuesday evening, just after the rain really stopped coming down. He seemed in a hurry, said it was very important I keep it safe for you until you came. Tuesday evening, few hours after the crash. "Here it is," the man said. He reached under the counter and pulled out a small wrapped box. It was tied with a blue ribbon, Emeka's favorite color. He said it was very specific. He said he wouldn't be able to give it to you himself. Amara took the box. It was heavy for its size. She walked out of the shop and sat on a bench nearby. The city traffic rushed past her, a river of noise and metal. She unwrapped the paper slowly. Inside was a small velvet box. She opened it. It was a locket, simple, silver. Inside was a tiny photo of them taken on their first anniversary and an inscription on the opposite side. "I will always be there." She held the cold metal against her palm. She looked at her phone one last time. It sat on her lap, black and silent. She waited. She watched the screen, waiting for it to light up, waiting for Emeka to appear one more time. She wanted to ask him how. She wanted to ask him why. She wanted to hear his voice again, even if it was impossible. But the phone didn't ring. The wind picked up, blowing a few dry leaves across her shoes. The world continued its relentless forward march. He had kept his promise. He had called. He had made sure she got her gift. And now, the line was dead. Thank you so much for listening to Amara and Emeka's story. I really hope it touched your heart today. If you enjoyed this story, I would truly appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed to the channel. It helps us grow and allows me to share more stories with you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.